Houston, we have a problem.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Heliopsychosis podcast. It's your host Vikka Draziv, guys. Welcome to the show. If you're watching us from YouTube, do comment, like, share, and subscribe. If you haven't and you're first time here, do share the show. And if you are watching us from realtruthseekers.com, rts.video, yes, rts.video is one of our main sponsors for Heliopsychosis and most of our podcasts. So make sure you guys check out rts.video. And yes, what an awesome topic too we have today. In the maybe would sound more sci-fi, but maybe this sci-fi is more based on reality than fiction, So maybe we could call it as a flat as sci-fi, So we are touching every different way of trying to understand this realm. So this is also one of the part where many are having questions about it and many have different views about this, that this could be a simulation. So that's what we're going to try to discuss today. So today I just have Gene with me, my co-host. Gene, brother, how are you?
Hey, Vikka, I'm doing great, bro. Thanks. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. The Matrix, huh? I think everybody might have experienced a little glitch in the Matrix. So, this is a great topic, Vikka. I'm glad you picked it. And again, it's going to go off into so many different areas. And looking forward to see what you got lined up for it.
Oh yeah, definitely, brother. So we are just both of us today because maybe some of our members are busy because of Mother's Day. So first of all, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And yes,
Happy Mother's Day, everybody celebrating.
oh yeah, the mother connection is very deep, and so everybody got to take care of your mother, if you still have them, because that's how it goes. So, yep. Have a great one, everyone. So, there was a guy named Philip K. Dick. He's a science fiction writer. From many of his books, there were adaptations of movies like Blade Runner, Total Recall, Minority Report, The Judgment Bureau, and the TV show called The Man in the High Castle. So all these movies were adaptation from this single guy called Philip K. Dick. He was famous as being a science fiction writer, but definitely he had this simulation theory during the late 80s and 90s. People were laughing at him, you know.
That happens a lot when out of the box theories come out to the public. They get ridiculed, right? Made fun of.
Exactly, because the people were thinking he was just making up things, So looks like if so many movies were based off of his writing, means he's on to something, because you can just make up things, Maybe he was writing it as a sci-fi, but there could be truth behind it, like twisting it up into sci-fi, into space stuff. But you know what I mean, where I'm going with that, right?
No, I think exactly how you're thinking right now. A lot of the movies are geared towards reality, and they're put in Hollywood or cartoonish or comedic kind of ways to make you laugh or just blow it off like it's look at these guys. Is art imitating life, or is life imitating art? Kind of thing they want us to think. There's a lot of
Exactly.
messages, right? There's a lot of messages in Hollywood. I should really get back into it. I cut most of that stuff off, and I keep saying I'm going to get back into it, but I'm having a hard time. A lot of messages I'm missing. It's
Oh
okay.
yeah, they twist it a bit, that so that the people really don't get what they're trying to say. The people get some things, but not all, right? Because there's a lot of disinformation with some truth, right?
Exactly. Definitely. They like I said, they make it in funny ways or dramatic ways, and they sprinkle truths in the Hollywood fantastic idea of what they're doing. So some things you think, that's just can't be possible. There probably are more the possible ones than the impossible ones. They got it all backwards in Hollywood. They really do. Some people notice it more, and I wish I noticed it more too. But I see plenty of it.
So Matrix was mainly adapted because of this guy, was done because of this guy's writing.
Wow.
And he said, like we are living in a computer programmed reality, and the only clue we have to it is when some variable is changed.
Oh, the Mandela effect, right?
Yeah,
Right.
like glitch also, you could say, right?
Yeah, glitch in the matrix for sure. I've had one over a 4-year period, or for getting off an exit. Whether the lines, the bumps on the road, the drunk, we call them drunk bumps because of the
Yeah,
way, right?
yeah.
So I took this exit like 3 or 4 times a week, and sometimes those drunk bumps were there, and sometimes they were not, and that was over a 4-year period of time, and I was just really weirded out. And I think it might have been before the Matrix. I don't know what year that came out, but when that happened to me, it was 90. I don't know, 96, 97 to 01, something like that.
So you would be jumping maybe in different simulations at that exit,
Oh,
right?
I don't know what that was. And and I was in elevator school. So I knew the route. I was taking the same road. It was all the times the same exit, and I just can't explain it. I tried hitting them. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to drive off the road now and find these. And they weren't around. It became comical for me. I'd start talking to myself. Well, the bump's going to be here today, guys. Where'd you put him today? Where are my bumps?
That's like some alteration in reality, right?
It really was. I don't know what to make of it other than that. And this was long before I heard of the Mandela effect.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, much more.
Long time ago, pushing 20 years, well over 20 years, I guess. 21 to 24 years ago, something like that. And I wasn't going to go to elevator school to start talking about this stuff either. Believe me, I didn't tell anybody up until a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah, because they wouldn't understand, right? And
Oh, no way. You picture that, bro? Sitting there, going over electricity and fits and tolerances of bolts. And I'm like, hey, guys, drunk bumps on the side of the road. No, it wouldn't have went well. So I kind of kept quiet about that one.
like we would have the overwhelming impression that we were reliving the present, like the deja vu. When we have deja vu, it's like I've been here, or I've done this, or this moment I have lived before, or what's happening in that moment, or it's gonna happen before it happens. All these are kind of glitches.
That's a good one too. Yeah, deja vu. A lot of people have gotten that, experienced that, where in close proximity, you foretell the future.
Exactly, or you hear the same word, or you're saying the same word, or you're hearing the same word.
Well, the phones listen to us now. They listen to you when they're off too, right? So that's how you get those pop-ups when you're talking about obscure things. I guess everybody knows that one. They're definitely listening to trying to sell us everything they can.
Oh yeah, as we spoke last week about not only listening, they're just like maybe they already have the tech to that the frequencies they're even reading our minds, or we also discussed it in the with Gregory Garrett's podcast, remember?
Right.
And he was like also mentioning about how they could be manipulating through this black goo, which they have it everywhere, and controlling it with the devices, so it was much deep, but
It could
so,
be. There's a lot of talk about the goo gel and that being Google itself.
oh yeah, it's totally possible that the combination of biology and all this kind of substance and create something out of it that like totally it's possible. And why is it happening, right? How can these devices know without us speaking about it, right? Only just thinking about it, right? Most of the apps and most of the devices, right?
Sure. Even, you know what? A friend was telling me years ago, she was talking about mechanical pencils during Christmas time, and her TV was off, her phone wasn't even around because she was in a weird part of her house when she was talking about it. And next thing you know, she's during Christmas time, she's getting commercials for mechanical pencils, which is kind of weird. But I think that, guys, we've said it. We got no problem understanding, identifying with sending a picture through the air, and that's obvious, right? We all do that all the time. So I don't put it past the people putting these phones out with this capability to have the ability to actually read our minds through these things, because it's all about the ether. It's all these
Exactly.
these waves are all right in front of us. Those pictures you're sending are right in front of me and Vika and your cousin and your neighbor that you don't even know.
And the energy we speak also about, right? The energy is also there. The energy could travel through the ether, through the cables, right? And reach us there. That's why when we speak, it's going through these cables, but you feel that energy, right? In sound and in the energetic way, right?
Absolutely.
Electric.
And it reminds me of the way they send it without the cables, with the stuff that's going through the air. Reminds me of light, how it has like no speed limit. It's almost instant. It seems. I don't know if that's really true. I'm kind of guessing, but it seems like it is. But your thoughts are instant, so that beats the speed of the alleged speed of light right there. Because there is no real speed of light. It's instant. It's instant. You can't measure 186,000 miles a second anyway. That's ridiculous, I think.
Oh yeah, but there are mediums, right? There are medium like cable or through the ether or through the atmosphere. To that, it can take some time, but that's possible, right? That
Yes.
transfer of information, right?
Right, through fiber optics. That's that's pretty insane. Even copper cables. That's that's like hard to comprehend for me to think that pictures are getting sent through cables or the air.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
because in the end, it's like all frequencies, right? Even through a cable wire,
sure is.
sound, images, file, video, all are different frequencies, right? And different signals of different variations, and they separate it but send through the same cable, right? Because in
That's
the fiber optic, it's all about one and twos, right? It's all binary, right? With
right.
lights and digital, right?
That's insane. So much information. You ever seen the size of those cables? They're like a foot diameter.
Oh yeah, they're huge. They are huge.
Yeah, big cables, massive, like bridge cables, cables and cables and cables inside cables, and
Oh
that's
yeah,
that's largely how we're getting all this information around the world. Mostly,
exactly, and not through satellites. So this is the thing. What happens, right? When this kind of deja vu or this feeling of we've been this or done that, in the moment, or there are some moment you can't even explain. It's just the feeling of a particular place or particular situation, right? These are like clues, that in some past time, like the variable was changed, reprogrammed, you know. So what is the simulation theory? Like the mind bending idea that we are living in a computer generated reality.
that's crazy. I don't, I don't, I don't like disregard that idea at all, though. I think
Oh yeah,
it's
we are. It's a way of seeing, because some people have different ways of perceiving this world. Maybe this don't sound very spiritual, but
right.
maybe it is, right? Who knows, right?
Right. That's one of my first thoughts. It kind of doesn't sound spiritual, but if we are hooked up to a machine somewhere else and this is just a projection, then what about those people then? So I don't rule spirituality out of anything. I think that's where everything comes from, personally. There's a higher being, someone way smarter than us made this place, and that's the only way I can see that ever again. So to think that this is nothing but a high-tech 3D simulation, a video game being played, why not? It sounds very spiritual, actually, because that's what spirits are doing, right? They're helping us into situations to help us guide our decisions to better ourselves.
Exactly, because what the word simulation means, right? It's a simulator for us to practice, maybe, right?
Right, exactly, right.
To become
I read a book.
spiritual, right? Really spiritual after this
Yeah,
simulator, right?
yes, bro. To get a deep understanding of it, and for them to get a really deep understanding of our reflex of how we're going to react to things when presented with difficult situations. That's what I think, because we think we're at the pinnacle of society and humanity, and I just think nothing but the furthest from that. And there's how many countless other worlds going on out there that we could be involved with, but we're not there yet. So if you can better yourself, you go from kindergarten through your school, then that's when you get to other places, right? And that's just what we're doing here. I think it was either Ron or Gregory that disagreeing with me, but I still think that this can be like a breeding ground for souls, and that's what they're gauging us through situations and how we behave with them, with other people.
Exactly, and how we ourselves evolve.
Right. Yes, exactly. Like from the kindergarten kid to the fifth grader to the graduate, and all the steps you take and learn and you perform, and you might go through the same situation, but hopefully you don't react negatively like you used to as a kid, let's say. So when because it's all about growing and getting better. So that's kind of where I come from. So that's why I put the scholastic years in there, because we're so familiar with that and the system we grew up in, and that's life. We're little, we grow up, and we learned. And I think that's what we're doing here as spirits, though, too. I really do.
Exactly, because maybe you finish one chapter here and then it's time for your next chapter, right? Life never
Sure.
ends, right? When we close this chapter, we have to go to the next chapter.
I think that's really all there is to it. And that's a big reason why it's treated the way, dying is treated the way it is here. They want you to be sad about it and confused and upset. And there's good reasons for that, but not to live your life like that. You gotta understand things like this. Well, maybe it helps, because you don't die, you just move on. It's think about, like, would you want to go back to fifth grade and start over again back there? You might not want to
Or
do
be in
that.
the same grade forever, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. Right. No, I don't know. A lot of people are really going to want that. Sooner, maybe once or twice, you'd do fourth or fifth grade or something. I don't know. You had so much fun. But that's going to get old quick.
So this is the thing. We are like kind of a book, with endless chapters, So why not, And so the question of whether or not we are living in a simulation have been a topic of philosophical and scientific debate for many years. The idea behind this theory is that our reality might be a computer generated simulation rather than physical reality. And if this is so, how do we learn the rules of the program and win the game of life?
and step
And
out of the
then,
matrix.
yeah,
Right? Step out of the matrix.
exactly. Or once you know the rules, you get good at the game, right? And maybe you win the game, right? Or you pass
Exactly.
the level.
That's what I'm thinking. When you know the rules, you know how to play.
Exactly. And there are many mysteries regarding the reality that
Yeah,
we simply,
I,
yeah, go
I
ahead.
think I think they leave the mysteries out though to create the confusion that they like to give us. Because you don't know where you're going, you don't know where you're coming from, you don't know how to act.
But that's the game, you start the game with nothing. You're not gonna have no memory, you're not gonna have no superpowers, you're not gonna have any upgrades until you start the game, right? Because if you knew everything from the day one,
It's like cheat
right?
code. It's like a cheat code.
Exactly. Exactly.
I never liked cheat codes. I would never like them.
Yeah, like handicap, right?
Yeah, exactly. Play the game.
So the question of the reality itself have been pondered by many philosophers and many different academics, right? And those interested in the mysteries of this realm for quite some time, and it's likely that our mind only access a small fraction of what physical existence actually is. Yeah, because what is real for us, no? Right? What is real and what is not real? Only thing what we can touch is real, right?
That's not true. We all know that. I was just talking about the ether. So there's just more to that. That's all that for me. That's bottom line. End of story. There's a lot more in the thin air than we could probably ever imagine.
Exactly.
And it is about vibration too. It's strange. When you practice things, you get used to it. And it's all like individual too. Very personal to connect with the air, kind of, I guess. Because there's no physicality, it's a spirit world. Or would we call it spirit world, but whoever knows whether there could be other worlds that we don't even know about a spirit world, right? We don't know. And that's part of the fun of all of this.
Exactly. Because what is our brain doing? Like our brain actually is is wrapped inside our skull, right? It's with the skin. It cannot see outside. Whatever
Mm-hmm.
information he's getting is from the friends he have, right? The eyes, the nose, the mouth.
Senses.
Exactly. So all this information that this senses is feeding it, it's analyzing all this information through all these senses, processing that, and then showing you a holographic image, right?
Exactly. That's exactly what's going on. It's just interpreting things. We were talking about this last week with sound, bro. And I almost brought it up, but it didn't. But this reminds me of the double slit experiment, where things react when they're visualized, and if you don't visualize them, they don't react. Basically, long story short. So you watching something is the act of creating it, helping creating it. But yeah, if you guys check out the double slit experiment, it's cool. It's a little hard to get a hold of, and there's a few different ways of like explaining it, analyzing it, but it's fun.
Yeah, it's like the electrons are fired in a photosensitive screen through slits in a copper plate, and this that generates and produce interference pattern,
Exactly. Yeah.
and that indicates a wave-like behavior. But when this same experiment is conducted under observation, the electrons behave like particles instead of waves,
Right.
and
They
there's no
can't explain.
interference. Yeah.
I have no clue what to make of that.
So that's the scientific way. Yeah, go ahead.
Or if it's even real, but they don't know what to make of that. I'm saying, or if it's real, because you talk about shooting atoms at a screen with a like a negative, a photosensitive paper behind it. So you know.
Exactly, and the same group of investigators, they also speak about that it's possible to embed malicious computer code into physical strands of DNA. So, and their goal with this experiment was to show that the computers working in gene sequencing more vulnerable to attack.
Wow.
So it's crazy, like. So other thing also, when we were speaking about the vibration, energy, and frequency, right? We also speak about how we ourselves or every atom or everything is supposed to be energy vibrating at a particular frequency, right? The lower the vibration, the denser the material, the higher the vibration, the lighter or light body, right? So everything, yeah.
Yeah, you become light with the proper growth. You become less dense and more light, literally.
Exactly. So what we are seeing all around us in reality is supposed to be just frequency, energy, and vibration. Because in the Matrix, in the movie Matrix, in that scene where Neo is touching the sofa and saying, "Is this real?" Right? And the Morpheus says to him, "What is real?" Right? What is real? Because he's saying, "Is this real?" Or and we are in this computer simulation, and is this real? And Morpheus says to him that what is real is just that your senses is touching something and is sending a signal to your brain, and the brain is processing and telling you if it's what is it or what it could be, right? It's just a signal, right? That's what I mean when I say what we define as real.
Yeah, that gets to personal truths and objective truths, right? That's kind of like when one person can say it's hot outside and someone can say it's cold outside, but like 100 degrees is still 100 degrees. You can't debate that. And so it's kind of like the difference. And science claims to have the objective truth with the solar system, and that's simply not true.
Absolutely. So if there is some truth to it that if everything is vibration at different frequency, so everything we see around maybe looks real to us, but in reality it's just like computer codes, like binary codes.
I don't see why not. High tech and 1,000 years from now, they probably could do this. We could probably do this in our living room. Create a little world and project it and have interplay with it, interact with
Well,
it.
we
That
are
would be
already
awesome.
doing it. No, we are already doing it with the video games, right? We remember when the video games were just ping pong or hangman, right?
Yeah.
How were the games in the 80s?
Yeah, so simple.
And how do we have right now the games? They are like almost ultra realistic.
Has anybody guys tried the 3D glasses? They're pretty crazy. I don't know what it's called. My wife has it though. It's an insane game. I
Virtual.
rode a roller coaster on it, and
Oh, you mean the virtual reality glasses? You mean?
yeah, that's it. It's very like engulfing and captivating. It's crazy. You think you got a grip on reality and put those things on and walk around.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So,
you think you can reach out and touch things. Maybe you've seen some videos of people reacting to them, and they're funny, but until you try them, you realize, like, wow.
oh yeah, you are full submersive inside it, right? So,
Very
so
much
it's
so.
it could be possible, right? That because when we speak about sacred geometry, right, and numbers in the nature, right,
Mm-hmm.
we see it, right? We like without even the sound we spoke about it, right?
Oh, the
It's all
patterns.
patterns and numbers, right?
Oh, yeah. And very repetitive, which can't be evolution too, by the way.
Oh no way, evolution. So it's absolutely possible that this reality, how we see, we feel, is three-dimensional, it's physical, it's material, but it's absolutely possible that these are just graphics. And behind there are codes, there's a layer of, that's why they show in movies a lot, right? They show this layer, they speak about this layer a lot.
Well, but Vika, really, it comes down, it is codes, genetic codes. And, if one letter was off in the tree's code, it's not the tree anymore. One letter out of billions is off, and the tree is not a tree. It's something different.
Absolutely.
Or,
Absolutely, brother.
right? Or it's either not that tree, it's a different tree, or it's the frog, or it's nothing at all kind of idea. So it sort of is exactly what you're describing.
So there's one guy also who did some research, right, about this, and it's with a new thing because many people are speaking about different way, about the simulation and this and that, and this one guy, he's done this new research where he says that when you are in altered states, right? But I think that I have had this experience without some gadgets, but this guy speaks about a gadget, right? He speaks right when you are in altered state, for example, right? If you're under state of DMT or some psychedelic, and you point a laser of 650 nanometer or something, it's the size, and you just put that laser, and in that laser light, you can see this matrix wall. You know what I mean? This matrix layer that everything is. Yeah, it's crazy. Sounds really.
Hey, we talk about plants. Sometimes you need 2 plants or 3 plants to make the right combination. So sometimes
Exactly. So
uh-huh.
yeah. So,
Wow.
and according to him, it's like when we are in that state of all altered consciousness or altered reality, we are at some frequency, right? And the wavelength of that laser, there's something happens that you could see this layer, So me, like, I have had this experience without any lasers, right? So I can really believe what this guy is trying to say. And what he's trying to say is that this is a scientific way for the people to go and prove themselves that this matrix is a reality. It's a quite interesting research, and it's quite, because according to him, everything that can be repeatable, observable, testable is science, right?
That's what they want. That's what it's supposed to be.
Oh yeah, it's crazy, right? So,
But science won't give much credit to anything that's intangible, really. They will not. They might graze across it, but they're like,
yeah, they might try to explain in that, like, these experiments they're trying to do, right? They wanna that in that way they are interested in the simulation theory, all right, or in the simulation that it's possible there, because all these sciences it's all about the Nobel Prize and who gets the right. And so, as we spoke about also, right, everybody wants, they are giving their best to prove their theories, right, and in a more physical way they can, right? So there are researches like this, like that this guy who's trying to show it through a laser, but it's possible without the laser also, because if you are also on that frequency, and you don't need this laser to be on that waveform, and you could see, right, there are people, there are ancient speaks about this net, right? Well, I spoke in one of our podcasts, the Egyptians illustrations, they are shown throwing nets, right? They speak about the net. This is the real layer of fabric, we could call it, of reality.
Right. Well, it is reality to us, though. So, right, it could be like this fabric of reality just here. But that makes me wonder, if this is a simulated reality, what's the reality like that it's coming from? Is it physical like this, or I mean, because what my idea or our idea of physical is, whatever we can use our senses with. So who knows? Maybe there's beings out there with more physical senses than we have, and are able to use it like we use ours. Right? Could be. I don't know. Probably.
Or could be that it's evolved us, right?
Sure. Into like some creatures in this world have 2 senses, You know,
Exactly.
not all the creatures have the same. Well, some use more, like, sea creatures use sonar actively, and readily. All kinds of different senses being used, and we don't have them all. Well, we don't. I don't know. Maybe we do have sonar, and we don't know how to use it. At least I don't know how to use mine, but we could.
Exactly. So according in this simulation theory, the moon is supposed to be a monitoring device. Okay,
A recorder.
a craft with a camouflage technology. The front face is supposed to be just that camouflage technology, according to them, right? And it's supposed to be behind it where these people monitor us in this realm or in this simulation, if you want to call it.
That's reminding me of that Jim Carrey movie. Which one was that?
Yeah, the one with that wall stuff. Yeah.
What was the name of that movie?
Maybe somebody in the chat may write which movie is that.
You guys know what I'm talking about. The Jim Carrey movie when he found the firmament, ripped the firmament open with the boat.
Truman. Yeah.
That's
Queen
it.
M says. Queen M says Truman.
Thank you. That's it. Bad with this stuff.
Oh yeah, they're telling us a lot, and especially in the movie Matrix, they say a lot if you really break it down, right?
Well, I gotta be honest. I don't remember a lot of the Matrix. I saw it in the movies, and I remember being like,
Me too. Me too. I don't remember.
oh yeah, little bits and pieces. But I remember really like being freaked out by that movie and talking to people like, "Have you seen this? Oh my God, this movie's so sick." It was kind of breakthrough, that idea, from what I remembered, but there could be 10 others like it that I didn't see either. Earlier ones, like, yeah, you're saying, wow, it's another different movie you said earlier. That was an old 70s movie, not Omega Man, but one of the older movies just on this kind of subject.
Oh yeah. So we don't know. We know that it's not a land for sure. The moon is not a place to land. Moon is mysterious for sure. I'm not saying it is like that. We are just exploring the realm in different ways to see what also makes sense or it really connects or no, right? We're not saying it's like that, right?
Yeah, just, bro, we're just hanging out talking about this stuff.
Exactly. And the sun, according to that, is supposed to be a white hole. A white hole is opposite of a black hole, right?
That's weird. So is it like pushing energy through to us instead of sucking it out like a black hole would?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And the other thing they speak about, like the dome, is supposed to be around 11,000 kilometers height, okay, from the ground. 11,000 kilometers. And the sun and the moon, with a diameter of 57 kilometers, that is around 30 miles, both of them, and are located at the midpoint between the dome and the Earth. That is 5,500 kilometers. And there are many different sources which speak in different way about more or less the same distance and the diameter, because even Eric Dollard speaks about 3,000 miles or something. That is around 5,000 kilometers. And there are a couple of other sources which have given in feet, and it goes around the same. So there are different sources we are speaking about 11,000 kilometers, the dome. And I don't think these rockets are going 11,000 kilometers to hit the dome, what every people are speaking about in the community when they say that they are seeing rockets hitting and it looks like water and everything.
It seems like it happens too quick to be that far, right? They're not going fast enough to hit that something that far.
Exactly. 11,000 kilometers is very far.
Really?
11,000 kilometers is like, I don't know, maybe, I don't know in miles, maybe it's 8,000 miles or 9,000, I don't know.
Something like that. It's up there. That's really far. Keith sees those a lot. I'd like to get down there and check some of those out. They launch rockets left and right all over the place these days. Like to see one, just to see it myself and watch how slow it is, painful it is.
Exactly. And the interesting thing is about the diameter of the sun and the moon. They speak about 30 miles more or less, or 57 kilometers in diameter. That's quite small, right? And then that's why they say, because it's the same size.
Same size as each other, right?
Yeah. So there's, according to this, there's many things happening, right, in this simulation. Okay, we speak about floods. There are floods. That is spoken about these floods from different perspective. We cannot say which one is right or which one is wrong or which one is the good one or which one is the bad one. So according to the simulation, the Noah's version was the wrong one. And the giants were the good guys. And then again there was some genetic manipulation, because according to that, Noah was also one of the guys who did that genetic manipulation, because they speak also about Atlantis. Okay, it's crazy. And how that civilization created this barrier around us to protect us from different races. They speak about an impenetrable plasma barrier that nobody can pass, right?
Well, it reminds me, Vikka, we were talking about that, whatever they were doing in Antarctica down there, drilling through it, and then the ice closed back over, and the ice turned to smoke. It was like this weird stuff. And, that was the last we heard of it. So it makes me wonder if there's more going on down there, or if, like, that's it. They're just going to move to rockets now and try and shot at the top of it. Because that was where they say it supposedly met the ground. They found something that met the ground from the sky, and that was where the sky met the ground. The firmament met the ground, so they drilled through it. Remember that?
Yeah. And the same thing with the ocean floor, right? With the water and the layer. So it could be just that energy or frequency that's not letting them go inside, kind of a barrier.
That's all there is to that. I don't see why not. I don't. And maybe there's little places to get through it, possibly. We were talking about ships being hundreds of miles past where GPS says they should be, or past the edge of the ice wall. So maybe there's seasonal passes or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah. So what they say that they destroyed all these giants and Titan with a ray, a weapon in a form of a ray that made petrified all the Titans into mountains and trees, according to that. The mountain does look like Titans and giants. Yeah, I have one really close here. It's crazy.
Do you?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The mountains that looks like giants or faces.
A lot of them do.
And even trees, you see pareidolia, totally trees and animals, and you see hybrids or even every kind of thing in that. I don't know if you check the one I sent you from the Petra one.
Today?
No, maybe when we were speaking about this pareidolia stuff.
Oh, I probably saw it. I'm not sure
So
exactly which one you're talking about, but
yeah, but there's lots of groups on Facebook which speaks about all these giants and petrified giants and all the organs and trees and yeah.
that's great
And
stuff.
they were titans, and they literally looked like huge animals and titans, and like look like they're frozen in time.
Yeah, dolphins, elephants, people, snakes.
Exactly.
If you look down,
Exactly.
if you Google Earth right now and go to where Argentina meets Antarctica, and you leave a little bit of each continent on your screen and pull up, but in between the two of those continents, it looks like a snake head.
Exactly. A huge anaconda, right?
Huge, but
Huge.
it fits in between the strait down there. Between I don't know how many miles that is across. It's not hundreds and hundreds, but it's quite substantial. And to put a snake like that on a globe, and now you understand that we don't live on a globe. If that was a snake,
Exactly. So imagine that it's like some conflict between different races, and they just like almost destroyed what was here before in this part of the simulation.
wow.
And they could be in another simulation around next to us, right?
Oh, sure. I don't see why not. You got, it's like these phones. We couldn't have thought of these phones for the most part 50 years ago, and that's a stretch too. Even like 30 years ago, we wouldn't have thought of stuff like what we're doing right now. All the things, the capabilities you have with your device, your phone. I know the teachers used to say, "Do the math. You're not going to have a calculator in your pocket."
Exactly. And now,
There's so much more. Everything's like all the
so,
household.
and we spoke about last week also, right? Like people think that it's 30 years in ahead in advance, something 300, but we know that it's in thousands. You imagine even simulation or here with us, among us, or next to us, 2,000, 3,000 years advance from what we have today. We cannot even imagine, right?
No, I can't imagine technology being advanced 1,000 years. It's just like lose my mind, literally.
And it's literally deleted from the history, right? And it's taken out, right?
Yeah,
And it's flourishing somewhere else.
well, I said recently when I was a kid, it was just common knowledge that, I mean, at least on the street when I grew up, that the military was at least 50 years ahead of us. At least 50 years ahead of anyone on the street. Anybody walking around, if these I wouldn't call them deep state back then, but these military guys that you don't see are very highly advanced, and we didn't know what we meant by that, and I probably still don't really know, but I'm holding it in my hand right now, part of what that advancement, that advanced technology was, and what they were perfecting. These devices were, I think, for the most part, originated as for soldiers, so they didn't get lost. They could find soldiers anywhere. That's what we're carrying right now.
Oh yeah. So it's totally possible that they made this happen so this part of the race or this epoch can continue to evolve.
Right, but not evolve like evolution, evolve mentally, spiritually, technologically, maybe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about 20 years from now, what they're going to have. Like pop-up phones, you just pinch your fingers and they pop up invisible, like they don't exist until you do a mudra.
Oh yeah, and teleporting maybe, like, and many different things, like, which sounds really impossible right now for us, but already in other plantations they might
Right?
have.
Yeah, and if there are other worlds out there that have these, what we might consider more advanced technologies built into them, things, the sensors that we talk about, things that we do on our phones, stuff like that. It could all be done personal between us. I really do think so. And maybe that's what we're doing, right, Vikka? Maybe that's what we're doing. Learning exactly where our next world is going to be.
Oh yeah, but first we need to pass this level, right? And we are in the middle of that level, right?
Right. Right.
The
Yeah.
other thing yeah, go ahead.
I was just wondering whether or not, let's say you're here for one specific lesson and you finish it. Do they pull you out immediately? Or do you keep going and just keep going? You skip grades
I
at
think
that
it's
point,
it's 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 a free will, right? The It's a free will. Like, if you wanna take your entire lifetime to pass this level, the existence is gonna give you that chance.
Right. Right. I see. I would stay here for forever. If we would all hang out, be peaceful with each other, this world would be so cool. Without these knuckleheads running around doing stupid things like they are. Right.
So the other thing I wanted to mention, like, speaking about the celestial above us, don't it look like a simulator?
Looks like could be projection.
Yeah, like almost like, yeah, but like a simulator that is doing the same thing in cycles, and it's repeating it, right? What is a simulator? Is to simulate something over and over, right?
Wow. And that's what everything in the sky does.
It's it's simulating the day, the sun, the night, the moon, the movements, the station, the equinox, the seasons, and it's continue year after year, right? And looks very organized, looks very patterned, looks very symmetric, looks very technological, right?
Very technological, bro. It's
For
hard
us,
to.
maybe it's
Yeah.
like a mystery or spiritual or light, but could be totally, as we spoke about, right?
Well, you know, it's not easy to understand everything going on in the sky between night and day, the stars, the planets, sun and the moon. Is so to me, it's and it's hard to say, but I can't get over the fact that they're calling that an accident because of an explosion, and it's to me, it's just so obvious that that was created, and I have by who or what. But with the repetition and the patterns you see up there, that and that was a big flag for me. I say this a lot, I know, but sorry, but even as a big science fan, as a little kid, the stars never changing position never ever made sense to me. It was always just like what? It just was horrifying that was like what did how it just made so much not no sense.
Because they were programmed, right? If you want to see it in a rational way or in a simulation way, because it's programmed to do exactly that and nothing more and nothing less. And if you go in a spiritual aspect, and God said the sun to do that, right? And it's another way of interpreting the same thing, right? That the sun, the moon, and the luminaries, you're not going to do more than you're supposed to do, right?
Right.
Programmed.
They don't deviate off their course. It changes, yeah, but it comes back. And there's so many different cycles up going on up there. That's like I don't even know how these people knew this stuff. I have no clue. It's like how many teams of people sat there and watched over and over and over for how many years? That was it's hard to comprehend that how the ancients understood the perfection going on up there.
Oh yeah, it's as you
And by the
say,
way,
right? Yeah, go ahead.
and it took them about 5,000 years or so to start the heliocentric model and the Big Bang theory. So for thousands of years, these guys had all this good stuff, all this great stuff, but then all of a sudden, this one issue they
For
had.
hundreds of thousands of years, the globe is just
Right.
what, 500 years?
Pretty much. You could go back maybe 1,000 where once somebody talks about it once or twice, but who knows if that's real? It's history. But yeah, no, 500 years. Columbus was, you know, half the people thought Columbus was going to sail off the edge, so to speak. That's what they want us to think that he was going to sail off the edge. That's how they want us to think that they thought back then, but that's not what
Oh
they
yeah,
thought.
there was a big debate at that time about being the earth flat or being round, because
Yeah.
some say that it was also because they thought it was a pear and it's going to go towards north and maybe he reaches faster. So yeah.
Oh
Just
man, pear shape.
so also everything in the nature, apart from the celestial that we see, everything above us, everything that exists in the nature, right? Everything of every element, every tree, every rock, every human being, every cell, everything, as we spoke about, that it's there, that codes are there, that numbers are there, right?
It's true. Same thing. If the codes for that plant, a simple blade of grass, was one letter off out of billions, that's it. The grass is over. It's not grass anymore. That's pretty crazy. That's the line of information that tells the grass what it is out of the seed. This is all a big conundrum, though. This Big Bang evolution. It's all what came first, really, and it's all really, honestly, a symbiotic relation where you can't have one without the other first. Any of it. What did you have first? The veins, or your blood? And any of it, anything. Your eyes or your brain. You know.
Exactly. And all the cells in our body, everything, they're just doing their stuff, what they need to do for this to continue, right? In a way, it's all kind of a technology. Just because it's biologic, maybe we don't want to see it like a technology, right? We say intelligent design a lot, right? That this earth and everything is an intelligent design, right?
Sure. I don't personally. I don't see a way around it. None of the evolution's theory makes any sense. None of it, from lightning hitting this pond to any of it. Nothing. Species don't jump species, and plants don't turn into frogs and stuff like that. I'm not even sure if that's exactly how it goes, really. So don't quote me on that one. But evolution's a ridiculous story. And with all the code being written and everything, that's pretty wild. That's so wild that it could be just high-tech computer simulation, and it's all vibration, that from your finger tapping on something, your sneakers hitting the ground, to the sound that you hear from those things. Just vibrations. And if you can control those vibrations, maybe they did find out how to make life, or what we call life right now, in the future somehow. Wow.
That we could be artificial intelligence,
Right.
biologic artificial intelligence. We could be. Who knows?
It's true.
You see a human body, how it is. It's
a machine, bro. They say it's the world's most perfect machine.
Exactly.
And all the mechanics behind it, the ratio of your fingers to your palm of your hand to your wrist and elbow, all those ratios involved, the perfection is stunning.
Exactly, because as I said, we don't take it as technology because we feel it's biological, it's skin and flesh, so it cannot be a technology, right? So it's totally possible.
Right. It really
and everything
is.
and everything that exists. Yeah, go ahead.
Every single thing. Yeah, I was just gonna say, it's easy to say that, everything you're looking at has a designer and a builder. Everything you're looking at, but then when it comes to life, no, that was an accident. Right? To sum it up really quick, it's so backwards.
Absolutely, brother.
Because everything needs a designer and a builder. You can't. You. I guess maybe you can. You're better off building things with directions. So you can wing things too. You can just cut stuff up, build whatever. Sure, there's that's available. But when you're building like intricate or detailed or complicated things, you really need a design. Somebody's got to design it. Somebody's got to build it.
Oh yeah.
And by the way, those old stone buildings, by the way, And like the pyramids, they those were built so perfectly, and they can't reproduce that stuff today with the metal work they do and the woodwork they do. So we really don't know how they made those things, because if you rise a building and you're off, and if it's that wide and you're off 80 feet over there by half an inch, wherever you're off when you're building, somebody's going to find it. Whether you're able to cover it up and hide it, that's a different story. But somebody's going to see a mistake when you're building. So to build that stuff today it would be an amazing feat today to build some of these structures that these people have done,
So same
hundreds of
way,
thousands
same
years
way
ago.
as in a game, there are clues for you. So
Right.
according to this is the pyramids and few other structures are there to misguide you, right? In a way, so that the people don't understand and get to the right information to pass the level. Okay, so speaking about these constructions, so all this they speak about races and the reset that did happen, and these amazing structures and everything. So according to this was the Tartaria, because they speak about a lot about Egyptians and Vedics and different cultures that are really really also like ancient, right?
Right.
But they don't speak about Tartaria so much because it's not so ancient. Okay, and whatever buildings are there are just the left ones because they were the strongest one, and the rest were destroyed. Okay, and what is all these buildings? What is all these buildings from all the way to US to all the way to Asia? This is
Yeah,
supposed to be, yeah. No, no, I'm
I
gonna,
would think that.
yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
No, no, go ahead. Go
Well,
ahead.
I would think it's part of the machine in that the world, the old civilizations lived with, in harmony with the world. But what are you saying?
Exactly. So the whole of Tartaria was supposed to be the eastern territory of Atlantis. So all this we are living in, was part of Atlantis, which was separated into another simulation. Okay, so according to this, like we are here, right? We have ice around us, right? And this is our simulation, right? And then if you go 8,000 miles more or less, if there is ice and the ice, you continue, you come to another island. No, there's also a lot of pictures going around on the web, on Facebook, and about all those extra lands with with ice around, right? But
Right.
imagine the same thing, but with domes, this impenetrable dome, plasma dome, which don't allow to intermingle between different simulations, right? Only ones who has attained that become light can move between these simulations. Okay, they speak about more or less, all they used to speak about in the past about those aliens and this earth being a petri dish and all this stuff was the same thing, but here physical in this realm, on this flat realm, because here is supposed to be horizontal. Space is horizontal. right? It's not. If you want to go to Mars, if you want to go to Pleiades, if you want to go to Lumeria, if you want to go to Atlantis, it's all horizontal, right? You have to go horizontal, right, left, anyway, all around, right? And according to this, it's supposed to be ice craters with these barriers and with different simulations, right? Like even the China wall was made by these people. It was not made by the Chinese people. Okay, every awesome construction that we see around, it's so mind blowing because it's from the real Atlantis. They don't want us to know, right? They say Atlantis, it's underwater. No, it's not underwater. It's the next one of the next simulations.
Wow, that's interesting, Vika. Those buildings were from Atlantis? Some of them? Those old buildings?
Most of them, everything. We all were a part of Atlantis. This was Atlantis, also a part, a territory of Atlantis. They want to tell us was one race called Tartaria or this on that, or some race built it, horse and buggy technology and all this stuff. There's a lot of disinformation about these buildings. What, why, how, where. There are many people covering this, but there's the real truth is this was part of Atlantis.
So they're just calling it Tartaria.
Exactly.
Right. You know, I
Because
had a
see
feeling.
how
I was willing to call it Tartaria only simply because I had no idea what else to call it.
exactly, because I also don't resonate so much with the word Tartaria, but just so that people understand what we are speaking about. But it's all
Right.
real.
Something's real, but yeah, the Tartarian people, I was always kind of like, okay, whatever, let's move along.
Yeah, because it's everywhere. The Tartarians are going to go to US. The Tartarians are going to go to India. The Tartarians are going to go to Bali. The Tartarians are going to where?
Right. Every square inch of every continent.
Exactly, And where? Oh, suddenly there was some race. What some race? Tell us the truth. Which race?
No, it didn't. That never really made sense. But like I said, I just didn't know what to call it. But wow, now my mind's blown. Wow. Because I have some pieces of buildings that have inside corner cuts, a perfect 45-degree angle and it's just as good as the ones at Pumapunku. The inside corners cut before
Exactly.
machinery was made. We used to go scrounging in the city, and we found lots of stuff. During demolitions, you can get a lot of good things. People throw the best stuff in dumpsters, guys. They'll throw it right in the landfill because it's old. I don't know about nowadays, but the 80s and the 90s, it was real easy to go get that stuff. People were way more willing to talk to you about going on a job site, looking around, scrounging things. Can I have that? Oh yeah, get rid of that. We can throw that out anyway. Okay, thank you. I'll throw that out right in my car. Did plenty of that. Wow, I don't believe it.
These buildings are freaking amazing. These buildings are out of this world, right?
Well, they're like thousands of years old. We don't even know really now. Thinking about it now, I'm like, wow. And half of them are earthquake proof. 1,000 years old, been through 4 earthquakes in Turkey and places like that. It's crazy. Hagia Sophia, that building. How many earthquakes that been through? Like 12 in 1,000 years or something?
Exactly, and they're still there.
Right. Uncompromised, hardly compromised, if that.
So imagine how far is that
Wow.
next simulation, how far in technology they are right now if they had built this few hundreds of years ago.
Wow, bro.
How advanced.
There's just no telling how they did that stuff, or what it was. Was it cement like? Was it wood turned to stone? We have no idea. But modern man did not do that stuff. Not with this technology. Not with our technology today. So.
Oh yeah, all I can say that it's amazing, and there's no word you cannot define how far and how crazy is it. Like we freak out by seeing this, and we're like, how the hell it's possible? So what exists more? It's even crazy, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. This is cool because it can let your imagination really go, and maybe it's not such a crazy thought to think how advanced people could be, and I don't, like what, morph into animals or stuff like that, become a tree for a lifetime or a week or a minute, walk around like a tree. I don't know, just anything you could think of.
Yeah, when they sell us that, there could be like planets different with different evolved species, right? But the same thing could be happening in these different craters, where there are craters which are places like Tartaria. There are places like it's only vegetation. There are places like there are only animals. There are places which are maybe much more less evolved. I don't think there is would be much people less evolved than us, but who knows, right?
So is rocks.
So,
I
yeah, go ahead.
I love thinking like that because I do. People got no problem thinking that an alien's going to fly up from trillions of miles away, but you can't think that there's something just 25,000 miles over that way,
or 8,000 or 10,000 miles.
Right.
In some it says that Lumeria, one of the nearest, is supposed to be like around 1,000 miles from tip of Africa.
Wow. I wouldn't doubt it. Nope. And maybe some of those lands could be even right here too that we can visit also.
Exactly, there have to be. The maps they're showing us, it's not all real. They speak about there are lands between Argentina and Antarctica also, which it's not shown on the map. And there are many islands and many places like this that it's not there on the map. If they were speaking that they just discovered in Japan 5,000 islands, where the hell were these islands?
Really?
And where the hell were the satellites?
Yeah, right. Who found them? Wow. Are there no people on them, right? New animals, were they in evolution too, right?
Exactly. So it sounds like, yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm laughing at that. They just found 5,000. Like, hey, look at this.
So this petri dish concept could be real, because imagine craters made in ice with barriers, with their own simulations, with their own suns and moons. So to keep us cold, that we don't just get petrified or something, right? And they are giving us some heat with the sun, 12 hours a day to keep us alive in a way, who the hell knows, right? Because when the sun is down, it's cold, man, and especially many places it's cold, right?
Sure. Yeah, it drops 30 degrees without the sun. No problem. And we couldn't survive if it was 32 degrees for too long. You know, what's
So
it, 31.
yeah, so maybe that environment makes us that we don't just perish in this existence. Who knows, right?
Funny. Just keep them alive.
Oh yeah. So we are almost half the way, guys. We're gonna take a quick break, and we're gonna be right back because we have some amazing more stuff coming up. Yeah. So make sure you guys stay here. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in a couple of minutes. Yep.
Definitely.
Take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. You stay in Wonderland.
Our level Earth plane is the Achilles heel of the New World Order. This subject, supposedly the most ridiculous of all conspiracy theories, mocked and ridiculed for centuries as being an ignorant, unscientific worldview, is actually one of the most easily demonstrable and empirically evidenced facts of reality. When humanity finally wakes up to the truth of our level plane Earth, It will usher in a veritable new age of enlightenment, a renaissance of common sense, and an opportunity to finally and forever expose and expunge these deceivers among us. Truth. It is singular and eternal. Truth has always been here, among us, and it will always be here. It is our perception that must be aligned with it.
Testable, repeatable scientific facts of our level, motionless plain Earth that have been suppressed and ridiculed for centuries in favor of various unobservable, untestable, unscientific theories purporting we live on a tilting, wobbling, spinning, ball-shaped Earth.
You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
All right, welcome back, guys. We have Gene with us today, and we are in sci-fi of flat Earth, which sounds more on reality-based sci-fi than this globe space sci-fi they try to sell us. You know, this sci-fi is more real because I think these people have literally rip off all this real, which have that essence and of reality, and twisted it into fake space and selling us this fake sci-fi. You know, they are literally, they do their different movies and all this stuff with their twisted stuff, but they are having that a little bit of essence of truth to it. That's why we really connect to it, right? You know, for some movies or some things we really connect because there is some part of the truth, but they always twist it, right? So we're trying to separate it. I'm going to give a quick shout out to the people in the chat before we continue. It's Queen M there. Then is Ronnie Milanovic. Then is Melanie Howe, Jay Davern, Cover to Cover with Jeremy Pierce, Worlds of Bliss. Jay Davern again is there. Yeah, then is Nick 101. Dr. Frankenstein is there too. Alan Nostran. And there's I. And then there is RTS Update. Oh, yeah. So there's a lot of misinformation they give about the history too, so that the people really don't understand, right, where all this goes, and especially as we were speaking about those amazing constructions, right? Because the reality is, like, music is liquid architecture, and architecture is frozen music. It's a technology. That's why it's so beautiful. It's so perfect. And we should stop asking about now how and who made that, right? We know. and as I was mentioning about these domed craters, so they are supposed to be like different ecosystems with their personal suns, because we have seen this phenomena of two suns, right? There are many people who have shared these images and videos of two suns. What do you think it is, right? Gene, have you seen that?
Oh yeah, sure. For a while, like a year ago, there was a lot of them going around, like in current events. I don't know what to make of it. Yeah, it could be like a sun from the next realm over, possibly. Maybe something like that.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Because there are many people. There are many people who have these videos and images, and also many from Australia also,
Okay.
and different places. But so according to this is the sun from the next simulation.
That's
Because
what I would think.
they look parallel, they look sometimes parallel, or because they are different distances, but that's, some people are saying is a reflection from the dome here and there, many different opinions about that. But
Right, but I don't know. It was like I said, it was a lot happened about a year ago, which kind of caught my attention because if it's isolated or something that happened on a sketchy camera 10 years ago, it's like,
exactly, there are some amazing videos there, high
yeah,
definition videos. Yeah,
right, and coming from a lot of different people. It wasn't
exactly.
just a few people, so it was very interesting. And it was
Oh
two
yeah,
different colors too. One of them looked like reddish, I think, from what I
or
remember.
more orangish, right?
Right, it
Also.
was definitely like a deeper color.
Oh yeah. Hey Keith, how are you?
Hey guys, how are you? Bring me up to speed.
What's up, Keith?
Hey, doing good, Gene. You want to bring me up to speed? Tell me where you're at in the conversation.
Oh, you just joined. Oh, we are speaking about Tartaria because we always speak about not Tartaria, but about those constructions. And in this, we were mentioning that who were the real builders of these amazing and awesome buildings. Okay,
Yeah.
according to this simulation thing, this is the real thing, is that we all were Atlantis before. All this construction was Atlantis and is Atlantis or was Atlantis, a territory of Atlantis. That's why these buildings are amazing. None of us or some of our ancestors make this, right? It's this, as you say, like horse and buggy technology cannot make it, right? So this is where it comes from or goes to, about those amazing buildings we have all over across.
Yeah, and how many of those were destroyed intentionally back, 120 years ago from the American Civil War, allegedly, and the pictures from the Civil War are hilarious. Sometimes they'll have cannons sitting there, and they'll have these huge cannonballs staged right next to them that wouldn't even fit in the cannon that's sitting there. And it's like those buildings, especially like out in the Middle East and Iraq and Syria, and those places have been obliterated by something. So what were they destroying? They destroyed. I mean, there's a lot of amazing buildings left, but there was, I bet you, thousands of those buildings that were intentionally destroyed back around the year 1900.
And it looks like it was more a destruction from a race which is not from our part of the simulation. That's why they speak about that this is a barrier that protects different simulations because of this, because it's always war about resources, about things, about control, about energy harvesting or whatever, right? Because in reality it's supposed to be more like a plantation, of some kind of a plantation, right? Because we are speaking that it was even possible that we could be artificial intelligence, a biologic artificial intelligence, who are in this simulation, simulating, experimenting learning or reincarnating, perfecting things which we need to perfect to get out of this simulation on a higher, much higher. And it's totally could be possible that we ourselves are coming here in a game that is created by us to feel how it feels to be in this game, right? To simulate, as I was saying, that even the celestial bodies, how they move, looks like a simulation, right? Everything is in perfect order and nothing is going out of order. Everything is very calculated. Everything is very precise, right?
Right. Yeah, you know, I don't have any problem thinking that we might be in some type of simulation. I do have a problem with the type of simulation that someone like Neil deGrasse Tyson or Elon Musk would try to promote, because they are well-known paid liars. They lie about almost everything. So
No,
it's
not that kind. Not that kind.
right. That's what I'm saying. But but the fact that they are bringing up this subject of a simulation and taking it far, far away from what might be real and might be true in reality, you know, that makes me think that, yeah, there is something to the idea of what this simulation is that we live inside of, but not what they're talking about, because they're intentionally trying to steer people away from the truth.
Yeah, because they could be taking that information, real information from the simulation, and capitalizing on it and twisting it and making money on it.
Right.
Right.
They're
Now,
the control our positions. They're the big guys. So yeah, you're right, Keith. If they're saying something about it, definitely give them a half an ear and watch for the ridiculousness too, though.
Yep, some truth comes through, but they are trying to steer people away from what's really true. Now, I watched a little video yesterday or something, maybe it was this morning, about the fireplaces that are in some of these old world buildings, and that they never housed a fire. There was some type of electromagnetic energy going in and out of these fireplaces, up to the chimney, through the walls, powering these structures that we don't have, you know, the common man, we don't have any knowledge of that today. We don't know what that is. But the
They even they even use today this technology, some of these places, but they're saying that they're using it from the off grid. They're from the grid, but there are places people don't know. They are using in many government buildings and many special places. They are using that energy system, and they're making us all pay for the electricity.
Yeah, what's the name? There's a name of the city in the Middle East there somewhere. Some stand. I forget the name of it. But all the electricity is free. Nobody pays for electricity there. And
in part of Russia.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you, Vikka. I think there's definitely different places absolutely using free energy, but telling the people that, you know, yeah, it's coming from the grid, but it's not. It's coming right straight from the air.
Oh yeah, and we were also speaking about the giants, you know, and the petrified, and why it could have been petrified, and it's all like a plan for us to survive, right? And this whole go ahead.
To the giants and the theory out of the Book of Enoch that maybe the giants cut down the giant trees that are everywhere. I mean, it had to be some kind of serious technology to cut down a tree that went 25 miles into the air. And those tree stumps that are everywhere, that's not just some magical angel magic force cutting down a tree with some big axe. That was a technology that cut all those trees down perfectly level across.
Exactly, and those taking down those titans or these giants, right? It has to be an awesome technology, right?
Yeah.
Because some of these giants really look real, you know, and there are animals, there are many things, and this it speaks about that these were all petrified and converted into mountains and trees. So it's crazy.
Isn't that big elephant where you live, Vikka? Isn't that near Spain? Like the whole island is like an elephant, and somebody like a biologist went and did research in the caves of that, and it mirrored what would look like an elephant today, like to the inside of their ear. That's how the caves and the tunnels look inside of this mountain. Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Stellium 7 did that.
Yeah, that was good.
Mike, yeah. He lives there in Spain, that guy.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched that
I
series
think
with
it's
kids.
Stellium 7, right?
That sounds familiar. I don't remember, but I watched that whole series of that guy with one of my kids. And that's important too. Whoever's listening, that you don't just take this information for yourself and contemplate it. Once you realize that we are in some type of simulation, the right thing to do, I believe, is to start teaching that to your family and your kids especially, because they're so bombarded by this world system with absolute bullshit that has no meaning or no purpose or no relevance to what real life is. Whoever's listening, for whatever it's worth, take it with a grain of salt, but I think you have a responsibility to teach this kind of stuff to your kids.
Oh yeah, because if you pass the same way you pass the level in school, right? If you pass your level, maybe you are into a higher simulation that is much more easier for you, or you have passed that test, and it's absolutely possible, right? Why we are having so many incarnations? Who are we sure that we only born here?
Right.
It's not sure. Maybe we are, as we were speaking, there are many images of these extra lands going around right now and they speak also about some lady that she went to comes from extra lands and all this stuff. But in reality, it's like you cannot pass these barriers, like unless you are light, right? That's why we speak about why is the importance of all in every culture about the pineal gland. Why is the importance there? Right? It's because once you become light, you see the reality. You see what is going on. And the same way in a game, when you do good, you get powers, you get gifts, you get weapons, you get magic objects, right? To pass the level, right? And if you have a couple of things, you pass the next level more easier, right? It sounds very, very, very technical, right? Or very computerized, right? But it's totally possible. We are speaking about numbers. We're speaking about that there was a research also, like the guy with the laser, right? In the altered state, this is repeatable science that anybody can do it, but you have to be on that altered state and with that laser to see. And these people can see that fabric, right? The fabric I call it the fabric or the net. Everybody doesn't need that laser to see that fabric. And they show us in many movies, these people are trying to push through that barrier. There's also a couple of movies where they try to, like, he's running and he just goes into the barrier and he realized that it's just a whole simulation, and he's looking from behind the buses and the trees, and I don't remember the movie, but there are many. Which one?
The Giver, I think, is which one you're talking about. But the
Giver, I don't know the name. Yeah, but
he has a special teacher that teaches him things that the rest of society can't know or is not allowed to know. And he, instead of taking it and then teaching the next person, he takes that knowledge and he goes and he finds the edge. He goes and finds the realm that he can go through into another realm that he's been living in his whole life and didn't know it. And whether Antarctica is that, whether we can go to other lands, which I think we can. I think there's gates through there somewhere. My wife is 50% Filipino. All of her blood relatives that are 100% Filipino that came here from the Philippines. The grandmother and grandfather from that family tells when they were children of going to the Forbidden Lands, far away from what we know today as the continents. So, and this is in my own little family. So once we start digging into this and this information or knowledge starts getting out, I imagine there will be more explorers doing their best to ignore the government and ignore the boundaries of the 60th South parallel and going there. There was someone just this week teaching, I think it was Hibbler Productions. He had a podcast and he was talking about the what is the name? It's a port for trading, and it's out in the middle of nowhere. China and these other countries are putting millions and millions of dollars building this port, and it's literally in the middle of nowhere unless they're going into Antarctica somewhere. That's the only way it makes sense that they're building this port of trade.
Oh yeah, I mentioned before that that is possibility of Lumeria, one of them. Like maybe this one doesn't have a barrier because it's very near. It's supposed to be 1,000 miles from tip of South Africa.
Yeah.
So here it speaks about that it's ice with craters and with barriers and every different kind of civilizations living, right? And it speaks also about the 12 tribes. The 12 tribes are the 12 races, right? More or less are in this simulation, or some are just mixed or going from here to there, right? And it also speaks about 17 continents. After 8,000 miles, there are supposed to be 17 continents, okay? And then there is second Antarctica. And then after the second Antarctica, it's supposed to be another 178 continents, habited and uninhabited.
Within the realm?
Land beyonds, we don't know which ones have barrier, which one no, but more or less these are the continents supposed to be between Antarctica and the second Antarctica.
Wow.
Yeah, there's some video. It's kind of hard to find, and sometimes I see it easily, and other times I don't see it anywhere for a long time. But I believe the video is called Universal Disclosure, and it shows our known continents as the center, and then outside Antarctica, several other continents with their own sun and their own moon, just like we have, but we can't see them because they would be lower in the sky. They'd be out of our vision because of perspective. But then it shows another disk even beyond that one with more land and another sun and another moon. And that's always been really intriguing to me. That, to me, is far more possible than the heliocentric nonsense. The stuff that we're taught as the solar system is, well, we all know it's bullshit, but it's completely impossible scientifically. But this idea of this universal disclosure of these disks and us being at the center of it, that's actually scientifically possible.
Oh yeah, and this is the thing. For example, the movie Avatar, right? What do you think? They just took it out of the thin air, you know? Maybe it's like that. Maybe, or who knows? Maybe it's opposite of what it is.
Yeah,
that
instead of up over our heads, it's out over the side.
Exactly, and the technology they are speaking about, that you just plug in, you just go in a tube, you plug in, and you come in an avatar, in another reality, right? That's the whole idea about avatar, right? And avatar is a real word from Sanskrit, which really means identity, a way, no? Avatar, you take avatar, like Buddha is also supposed to be an avatar of Vishnu, for example, right? An avatar, right? So that word avatar is used there. So it's, as we are speaking about different simulations, and if we are here and we speak about, we are saying that we are not sure we are totally what are we? What are we saying? Then I said we are possible that we could be a technology ourselves, right? It's totally possible, right? So everything around us and what we are living in and how everything is going and how the life, and no, we don't know exactly what is happening, but this is one of the things also, it's possible. We're not saying it is like this.
Right. Yeah, we're not saying anything definite. We're just saying these are possibilities. And even like the movie The Matrix, and Neo says, "Hey, is this real?" And Morpheus says, "Well, what is real?"
Exactly. This is what I was saying earlier.
Yeah. If you're just talking about what you can sense and smell and taste and see, those are just electrical impulses interpreted by your brain. So yeah, it's totally possible.
And that this could be a really like a game created by us, and we are in this game being a player, right? And if you get the superpowers, you could go in different levels and different, right? Totally.
Yeah. Did you guys see it? And they're even the mainstream is pushing this narrative, and I think they're steering it in a wrong direction. But did you guys see the movie Free Guy?
Nah.
Oh, you both got to go watch that. I mean, tonight when you're off the phone. I mean, it's hilarious. It's really entertaining. It's a fun movie, but it's all about this, about living inside of a computer program, and one of the programs in the computer actually becomes conscious and starts asking questions and doing things he's not supposed to be doing. So, I mean, I'd highly recommend anybody listening go watch that movie Free Guy, and just see what you can take away from it.
Thanks.
Cool. But the thing is, once we put it on our flat earth realm perspective, everything starts making sense. That's the thing. If you are seeing it from a globe perspective, or the people who are seeing it from the globe perspective are totally in the wrong direction. Because if we see this as a flat earth perspective, a flat earth realm, a horizontal existence, it's totally possible. We are not speaking about planets out of space. I think the whole idea is being dropped from this horizontal space and below and above us, right?
Yeah, the flat earth awakening, or whatever it is, it just opens your mind and your eyes to so many other possibilities. So, and that's one of the good things, or the fun things about being a flat earther for me. The last 2017, so the last 6 years now, it just it opens your mind to think more freely about other possibilities, instead of this trap, this mental prison, if you will, about this globe of this is all there is. No, there's much more to our reality and our existence than what we were taught when we were taught about the globe and the solar system.
Exactly. So it is also said that there are wardens, there are monitors, there are gardeners who have different DNA than us, who controls these systems, these simulations. That's why we are supposed to come here to learn, to try different experiment, different way to simulate things, various incarnations, perfecting whatever. Because once you get that degree, because you are looking for something in the real existence, and you are come here to practice. And no matter, there is no limit until you perfect something. For example, in the real existence, you want to be a judge, right? And you are coming here and you are living different reincarnation. Everything has been recorded, your deeds, your karma, your emotions, everything. Right? Until you perfect it so well in every aspect that nothing can, you become the real, right? I'm just giving an example, right? I'm just giving an example. So you are coming here to stimulate and become that pure judge for something that you need to judge there, whatever. It's just an example, right? So all these emotions you are feeling, the way you are adapting to it, right? Like there is no difference between a monk and a person who is like really like, because that person is going to evolve one day into a monk or a priest or whatever, or a pure energy. Everything is doing their part. So even the most negative things you see in happening, or people or energy or whatever, is just part of the simulation to continue to that it evolves, that it manifests itself, right? And we all are learning, everybody, right? For something, for us, a part of us has come here for that practice, right? And this is created by us. I know we are going totally, but it's all possibilities, it's just, we have covered many different ways of understanding this realm. So this is just one of the other things, right? That this realm could be, right? Or what we are doing here, other than just taking it from a spiritual level or a psychological level or a literature kind or whatever, right? It's
Yeah, with my perspective coming up in the Christian persuasion, if you will, all this stuff about God, and God is absolute, and well, God or the designer or the programmer or whatever title you might want to put on God. I mean, to me, it's obvious that there is some kind of designer to our physical bodies and this realm that we live in. But I think my personal knowledge, and all of us as a humanity, our knowledge is so limited. We've been so dumbed down from the time we were born that it helps all of us to consider all possibilities instead of closing our minds because we disagree with something, especially when it comes to our source and where we come from. To me, people who have some of the most persuasive positions of preaching Christ or God are some of the most evil, closed-minded, dark people in the world. I mean, we've never done a podcast on the Catholic Church, and I was never part of the Catholic Church. But you start looking into that, and their buildings and their basilicas everywhere, it comes pretty evident pretty fast that they're not God's representatives. They're representing something else completely, and trying to, I think, hide the truth from humanity, not give the truth to humanity. And that's not just many, many religions, in my opinion. So, I mean, I hear what you're saying, Vikka. I have a little different take, that I think there is some form or force of evil that is out to do this world harm and to do people harm. And that doesn't really fit or jive with whatever the New Age movement is. I don't know. But it doesn't really jive with that thing that, hey, everybody's perfect, everybody's learning, everybody's on the level where they are. Well, yeah, I agree with that. But I also think that there's some force that is nefarious or evil, trying to hurt humanity and trying to hurt even our mental life that we live. And that is something that for me, someone said this on my Facebook last week. They said it seems to them that flat earthers are spiritually awake and globe heads are spiritually dead. And I said, yeah, that hits the nail on the head for me. That rings, that resonates true. Almost every flat earth, now not all of them, but almost every flat earther I know has some type of spiritual perspective of possibilities like we're talking about. And they'll ultimately say, I don't know who God is. And those who do know who God is and believe and proclaim that they know who God is or what God is, that's so close-minded, and it's usually still closely connected to one of the main religions in the world.
Brother, you are in a simulation of polarity, of duality. You need to escape it to get freedom from it.
Well, yeah, hot, cold, up and down, in and out, good and evil. but I hear what you're saying, Vikka. I just think, for me personally, on the level that I'm on, there is something called evil that is in this world. I mean, the fact that humanity can hurt children.
Exactly, but that's why it's like a prison planet here, because there are some things you cannot avoid, because it's like this. To avoid this whole concept of duality of good and bad, we need to go up the level. And if you're going to be keep doing the same things, what we came here to do better, and we don't, we're going to have all the infinity here to be at the same level if we want to, and be in this maya of duality in a way, because it's there, because this is a part of this dimension. This is the reality of this 3D reality, right? You could be in this 3D reality and live in another dimension, or fourth or fifth, right? It's also possible, but it's like literally going the next level, because everything is a part of why it's happening. Because if there is no dark, what is the light used for? Why we need the light? Or if there is, right? So it's for it in this simulation, that's the whole thing, right? And maybe in the next is another thing, and the next is another thing, right? That's why it's kind of, we are trapped here in a way till we pass the level, right? And once we start understanding the rules and the games, and we start winning more superpowers in this game, you're going to pass the level much more faster. The more diverted from the truth and reality you are, the more reincarnation you want to make here again. Because as I said, it's free will. Free will is mean take your time. Take your time in any way. So whatever these people are trying to sell of not looking inside and looking at something else, as we know, as you mentioned earlier, that's not the real teaching. The real teachings is to become less dense, to vibrate higher in this dense dimension and become light. That's the real teaching of all the ancient cosmologies. We did everything here, each and everyone here. So why is there this importance? Because once you have the eyes, you see. There is no duality, there's nothing, right? Because it's like almost getting so.
Now, I have researched personally the whole concept or perspective of duality versus non-duality, and I don't know that we ever reach a real conscious level of non-duality while we're still in this physical form. And to have an idea that we can go beyond this physical form while still in it, I don't know, Vikka. I'm just saying that I consider all possibilities, but I think there's something about this duality that we live in. It's real. It's not just, rich and poor and old and young and all the common stuff. But I do think ultimately, for me anyway, there is a duality of good and evil. And I think that's inside of all of us. We all have the potential for good. We all have the potential for evil. And I think the more good we become, we do start having more of a perspective of non-duality. That is, I think, raising our consciousness or having more light in our eye or light in our pineal gland, or however you want to say it, our third eye, if you will. It's like, as flat earthers, we see things completely. We see the whole system completely different than the overwhelming majority of the world. But I can't deny the duality that I see between good and evil in this realm that we live in, just because I choose to. If that makes any sense to you.
Yeah, but we are here to experience it, brother. We are here to experience it, as you say, right? We have the good and the bad inside us. Why is it us? It's there for us to experiment, right? What you take out of it, it's your evolution, personal evolution to yourself and your surrounding, right? That's what it is. We all have the the both in us. The other thing I wanted to mention also, like for these incarnations or these levels, maybe we are taking so many different, but for us in reality, from where we come from, this could be just 2 hours. This whole life, this experience we are having, just could be 2 hours. It could be like, wow, after
or 2 seconds. Yes, absolutely.
Right, and then you say, oh man, that was great, I want to learn this and I'm going to do that, like it's totally possible, right? Why not, right? Because for us, we have another concept of time, and we perceive time in a different way because of this simulation.
Our time is dictated basically by the sun and the moon.
Exactly.
And the plant and the stars, and the seasons. That's kind of how we're dictated here.
And remember, Harry, you were speaking also about that there are something they speak about that before there was no sun and moon, and they literally bring it here, right? Or they created it, right? So that we take it as a time. We count it as a time, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's a very interesting perspective. Also, the perspective that there was no water here. There was a dry earth at some point.
Dry earth.
Yeah, there's some crazy theories or whatever they are, but I think it's just super cool that we consider all these things. Everybody can make up their own mind. That's the other cool thing about most people in the flat earth community. Nobody's saying, hey, this is the ultimate truth, you got to believe like I do. And that's what you do find in the globe world, or even in most of the Christian world. It's like, be like me and go to heaven. Well, no, I'm not going to be like you. I have zero desire to be like you. But that arrogant attitude that is so prominent in humanity, I still have an ego. I still have that in me. I'm right, you're wrong, that type of thing. But trying to practice a little more humility, whatever that actually is. I think humility is the ability to learn and grow. That spiritual fruit, or whatever it might be called, that helps us in our flat earth journey, or it's helping me in my flat earth journey to try to consider that, hey, maybe I'm wrong. Instead of I'm right and that person's wrong, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, when it comes to flat earth, we know, hey, it's observable, measurable, repeatable. So there's some things in the flat earth world that seem absolutely true, but there's other things like we're talking about tonight and the possibilities that we're considering that, hey, if we would all practice a little bit of humility, I think we will learn and grow.
Oh yeah,
Keith, you're right. You pointed out within itself how with humility that most of us were living in outer space up until the day we said, oh wow, what's this going on? Oh my God, right? So that's humility right there, when you're able to jump out off the ball and land on stationary flat plane, right?
Yeah, we all had to admit, well, we have been wrong. We were deceived. We believed all these lies about this place where we live.
Right.
Yeah, that's sure. But just being able to question your own beliefs, and
sure.
By saying, I say that all the time. I tell people, question your own beliefs. What does that mean? That means maybe I'm wrong. You say, hey, maybe I'm wrong about what I believe. So, very true. Not just about flat Earth versus the globe, but very true about God and your religion as well.
Exactly. And I think it's the difficult part for us is to even think that we could be a fusion of biological and this technology. That's, I think, is the hardest part. That is where and I'm just saying that it's possible. I'm not saying it is like that. Okay, I'm just saying it's possible. It's possible that the technology exists, that it's possible, right? So
Absolutely.
So let's speak about these simulations, or the whole Earth, if you want to call it, with all the simulations, could be like a quantum computer. What is quantum? Quantum is just nothing. It's just more capacity of processing information. So it says it's like imagine like a dome kind of gadget with the simulation inside with cables and everything, right? Literally how it shows in the Matrix, right? And the AI, the central AI, like, it's like totally a technology, right? And it's supposed to be created, interestingly, by a race called the purple or the blue race. And with these algorithms and the informatics and the DNA from their saliva, with combined programming with and making the humans in a way. That makes possible physical body at the same time a biological computer. We function like algorithms. Like how does an algorithm works of any application? So the same way, right? It's sees what you are interested in, and then the algorithm more or less start showing you your interests, right? And on a bigger scale, right? So our thoughts and our emotions that we send in this creation is like an algorithm. What you send, what you're going to receive. So there are infinite possibility of algorithms, right? Also, so sounds very much like Avatar, but the opposite way. That we could be this same race who are experimenting here in this simulator created by us, and we are like, so that's why I say it's very difficult for us to even think that we could be a technology because we are flesh and bones. Right? As I was saying about the energy and the cables and the transfer of energy and light and frequencies, right? And through, like, and we all speak about like we are actors here. We are actors here coming in different roles. Selected by ourselves, right? The roles, A simulator for practice, a game. So your guides could be from different dimensions, and you could be a guide for somebody else in another simulation or dimension, whatever you want to call it. Because the third dimension is the only place you have duality, polarity, dark and light, and samsara, the Maya. So it's a game, and we are maybe like, when you receive something as a player, as a game, as emotions, what emotions we are having here is what is our, I don't know, maybe our reward or whatever, our learning of our or evolve in that existence, whatever it could be, but it's emotion is also involved a lot. Yeah, sounds totally sci-fi, right?
I don't know. Not completely.
No, it definitely does not sound completely sci-fi. I mean, if I was still a Glober, I'd be like, "You guys are crazy." Yeah, blah blah blah. Or maybe I'd be like, "No, you're right. Yeah, Elon Musk, he's on it. He's going to do this. We're all going to do something." But no, it doesn't sound insane or science fiction to me. I think there's some real possibilities to this entire subject.
Oh yeah, we're trying to connect the dots. As I mentioned earlier, we are not saying that this is how it is. We covered all the ancient cosmologies and all the things related to it from all these few months. We know what we are trying to analyze and see and possibilities, and this is just one of the another possibility. Just because these controllers are on it doesn't mean that it could be a totally fake. That it could be totally happening, and that this is many of these people know, right? Many of these famous or the rich people, they know, and they are using these resources or this extra, like having a much more good technology, and could be just not so far from us also. All right, so it's all, yeah. As I said, I know it's very difficult for us to think that it's like that, and we could be like a combination of all.
Vikka, you were just talking about Hollywood knowing things that we don't. If you look at some of these actors and actresses, a lot of them have historical twins in pictures, it seems, and not just one or two, a small handful. Seems to be a lot of them.
Exactly. Yep.
Right. So you never know. They could just be, doing a little extra with these people over there to kind of guide us, slow us down, so we don't become like them or something. I don't know. They hide stuff from us, though. That's for sure.
Exactly, because well, once you're in a game, for sure, the real controllers, they don't want the majority to understand the game, because if they understand the game, who are they going to control on or manipulate to, right?
And
so the yeah.
Once you understand the game, sometimes it's not as fun. You don't want to play anymore.
Yeah, but also that maybe once you understand the matrix, you don't need to escape the matrix, right? Because you understand the matrix, and when you come to that level, you already have many different bonuses you found on the way, right, to help you. So
you make it work for you.
Exactly, and being conscious, real conscious, not diet walk. Like awakening, like real awakening, is the freedom from this simulator. If no, you're gonna come back. However way you wanna have this awakening, but understand that, like, we always say that it's the intelligent design, it's intelligent creation, but who is the creator? We are not trying to say that we're gonna, like, boil down to who is the creator or which religion. No, it's not about that. It's only about understanding what the hell is happening, because we also cover all the cosmologies and religions too, right?
Right. Personally, I don't need to put like that kind of an identification on the creator of this world and all the people and animals and everything going on. It's not that important for me. Maybe it should be. I don't know if I'm right or whatever, but I'm like, okay. It just came to me one day, like a bunch of years ago. I don't know. It was just like, wow, if there was 10 people in a room and God was one of them, and you called out God, and he would never turn around because God don't know his name is God, really. I don't think so. I just don't really try to put labels, I guess, or names and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, in comparison with other
human.
Yeah, exactly. In comparison with other cosmologies, this is just another way of seeing what it could be. That's it. We are not saying this is true or that is true. Right?
No, not me. I'm not staking no claim in anything like that. No, this is just great conversations and possibilities, and a lot of flat Earth talk, and a lot of this stuff does lead right to flat Earth in obscure ways. It's a lot of fun bringing those obscurities a lot closer. People understand things like that better, and we understand things like that better.
Oh yeah.
No, we don't want to change anybody's mind. But you think about it, nobody changes anybody else's mind. You change your own mind. I change my own mind, and everybody changes their own mind based on the information presented and disregarded. That's kind of how you make up your mind. Not, it's not because of what I said. It's because what I said added up to you in a way that makes different sense or something, right? So, or you said something to me, and it's like, oh wow, now it makes sense. So,
Oh yeah, you have like we have all the chances to understand this, like unlimited chances for us to understand what is, and those who can't, like, kind of are trapped in the game or are victims of the game or victim of the matrix, if you want to call it. You become a player when you are awakened, as I said, right? All games have rules. Once you understand, you become the player. So we speak about people with magical powers, even people, normal people. The people, we speak about objects which have magical frequencies in all our ancient times, right? We speak about many books and many different things that have special and magical energy, like objects and souvenirs. It's all like all these different Indiana Jones, like they want to show us, like going and looking for magical objects in different parts of the world, right? It's the same way. They are like, it's like hidden things, right? So it's telepathy is a superpower, right? So what else could exist, right? Only freaking using your brain more than the thing that the humans can use your brain, or activating part of your brains. It's also magical. It's also like a superpower, right?
Well, that's part of the antenna that's connected to the ether, right? That we're all connected to.
Exactly. Seeing sound is a superpower, right?
That would be cool. That sounds like so much fun.
Oh yeah, it sounds like I have been and seen these places, right? But in people won't really believe, but it's some things are my real experiences, right? So, as I said about the Atlantis,
experience is the best teacher, though.
Oh yeah. So yeah, it's everything is possible in here. I'm not saying this is the truth, but it's just a way of seeing things, and it's absolutely possible too, you know. So it's absolutely possible that you could achieve that level that where you can go in this different simulation, learn, share, teach, heal, right? Yeah, as I said, it's all today sounds very sci-fi, but really it's could be, right? So yeah. Anyway, Gene, we're gonna be having last thoughts because yeah, you can become a voyager, and you could easily instantly pass this is impenetrable barriers, right? And this is impenetrable for people who are still dense. So if you raise your frequency and be more light, as you say, Gene, light is like energy is same as light. Thought is instant, right? It's instant connection, right, to your other self or whatever is there in this different simulation who is trying to connect with you too, right? In many different ways. We think that this is all hallucination, or I'm dreaming, or it's lucid dreaming, or it's some kind of message, telepathic message. It's all part of it. Just because you don't really understand it in that way, it's not like that, right? It's all is communication, all is signals, right? But the more when you become on a level that where you can literally see and understand, it's all magical. It just happens, right?
It does become magical. It definitely does. Like, not every day is sunshine and flowers, That's not the idea, but it is a magical world to live in when you start thinking differently and understanding the intangible, controlling the tangible, and the possibilities of not being the pinnacle of creation, and we're in the midst of creation. We're part of it. We're not the be all or the end all, We're in the middle of it all. And these conversations are so much fun, brother. I'm so glad to be here with everybody. Everyone in the chat, thanks for being here, guys. Hope you had a good time. And enjoy your life and make those good decisions based on
Oh yeah, we can have some questions if somebody wants in the chat. We are 10-15 minutes, all right?
Yeah, who's out there still? How's it going, everybody?
Green Flower says hearing colors too. Oh yeah.
Yeah, all of that stuff sounds so interesting, like a whole new sense that people are experiencing. And this stuff reminds me of like something like in a world record that can't be broken for decades. Oh, this guy's got the record. And then all of a sudden somebody comes in and shatters the record by whatever margin. And then next thing you know, everybody's got that record. Everybody's doing it. So it's just a matter of understanding things a little different. If you take that application of, wow, somebody did it, and then everybody realizes, so can they, like a snowball effect. That's what I like about stuff like this, because I think we're all linked to a spirit in the middle of the air. So, and it's all here in us.
Oh yeah. And for example, Green Flower says psilocybin mushrooms can tune you into that frequency and vibration. So what are these supposed to be? These are supposed to be tools. It's like this, like when you are in Mario Brother, you eat the mushrooms and you are like find the gold coins. You know what I mean? Sounds very familiar. Looks very familiar. So these tools are there for a reason. It took thousands of years. Took thousands of years. Yeah, go ahead.
All the plants, guys. You can know plants like most people don't understand plants. They tell you all the plants in this world are here for us to use to eat and heal and to help ourselves. All of them.
Oh yeah. It feeds us. It shelters us. It cures us, and it transcends us.
Sure does.
All right, I heard about Mario and the mushrooms. What about the Smurfs living inside the mushroom houses?
Yeah, so there are many tools like this that exist in the nature, especially it's there for a reason. Okay, it's there for a reason. We just know that alcohol is not like almost a human, like, very natural. Your vibrations are not very aligned, so.
With alcohol? No, that's a derivative of, that's almost pharmaceutical, I think.
I reposted someone's feed the other day that said, alcohol is the drink of the slave. Boy, it was like stirring up a hornet's nest. All the responses that came after that.
Very popular.
Crazy. Yeah. So yeah, you have man-made and you have the nature-made. So it's like that. So you when you find, and there are things for people to do, and there are many, as we mentioned, is many different ways of getting these small gifts and bonuses in this video game. It looks very organic, it looks very real, but in reality, it's supposed to be all digital. It's all computer numbers. It's a fabric. It's all, it's just vibrating different densities, of different things. And for us, as we mentioned before, what is real, right? What is real? So yeah, we have to have an open mind for everything. As I said, we are not trying to say that this is the truth and this is the reality. Every way of understanding where we live in is just different ways, of different possibilities that it could be, and as I said, the most difficult part is that thinking that how we could be a part of a computer, right? And technology, right? But yeah, we will know when we get to the next level, right? Confirming, but there are different ways of seeing it, and the faster you get to the next level, the better, the interesting the game becomes, right? More challenging, more, as we mentioned before, we don't want, that's why everything is the memories and everything has been like wiped off, right? That we start from zero with a empty paper, right? And as soon as we finish all the chapters, we finish the book, right?
Hey, have either one of you guys read that book called Power versus Force or heard about it?
What's it about?
It's about duality and non-duality, but the guy claims to have created a map of human consciousness from 0 to 1,000. And he uses kinesiology, showing that truth makes you strong and lies make you weak. And it's just interesting that the different levels that we're talking about on the show tonight seems to be mapped out in his work. So it's just something worth looking into as you're considering possibilities. But the name of the first book is Power versus Force.
Cool.
Oh yeah, it's because it's always about reaching and getting something, like we humans, we know, we are never, when we are hot, we want to be cold. When we are cold, we want to be hot, What I mean, just an example. Like we're never like, yeah, done with it. We like, yeah, this is it. Like so, it's always, and especially the mind, right? And then the heart connects to, yeah,
My mind's always bouncing, right? Try to calm your mind down. We talk about that a lot. It's difficult.
oh yeah, the only way to calm the mind is the same thing, right? The light, right? And
Practice.
exactly. So yeah, but it's so beautiful. This creation is so beautiful, from whichever eyes you see. It's so amazing that it's really difficult to believe that it's technology, right? That's the best part. That's the real truth. So awesome. Yeah, it's all there for people to, you know, see another way, of our realm. What realm are we in? We know we are not on a globe. So we know what we see, we know our continents, we think many think this is our world, but there are many different possibilities with extra lands and with extra craters, with these extra simulations, and that we all totally possible that all this is created for us. When you go in a game, you go from one level to second level, you go from one simulation to other simulation. Some are locked, some are unlocked, and you want to go to that simulation, so maybe you don't know in your conscious mind right now or subconscious mind, but your real self or your true spirit who is playing this game knows in which simulation or out of the simulation, so it's right there, people, so for us to understand that we know that the earth is flat, this realm is flat, and how far it could go. So this is also, edge, where goes the edge, right? So the edge maybe is just that impenetrable dome. That's the edge for everyone. Each and every simulation has that edge, because we don't go and screw around with other simulations, right? Because only way you are going through the simulation, because you can go to others, is because when you become light, and when you become light, there is no that duality or polarity or whatever, that, you know what I mean, like, like you are light, so to reach there, you have passed everything you need to pass, so you can access and share. And yeah, it's quite unbelievable for many, but I tell you, there are many people who have eyes to see, right? And many who are trying to see apart from their two eyes, right? And everything around us, life in itself, the controllers, the maya of this life will make you impossible for you to become light. And that is part of the game. Okay. So, all right, guys, we're going to be having last thoughts, and we're going to be wrapping up for today. We're almost reaching 3 hours.
Yeah, great show, guys. I'm glad you made it over, Keith. And you made it just in time to start talking about the buildings that never Tartaria never really made a lot of sense, but I just kind of went along with it, humming along. But now that Vikka was mentioning that it's could be Atlantean, that makes some more sense. I'm gonna look into that some more. I like that. And wow, we touched a lot of subjects tonight. That was a really great show, brother, and good to be part of it. So, we do live on a flat earth, though, guys. Ultimately, whatever you call a creator, everything needs a designer and a creator, a builder. So no matter what you call it, it's a good thing. But As long as you see that and understand that none of this heliocentric model works here where we live. And what part of the government lies do you like? What part are they telling the truth about? So well, good to see everybody, and thanks for coming, guys. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Vikka. Thanks, Keith. I'll see you guys. Happy Mother's Day, everybody.
Oh yeah, definitely, brother. Thanks for being here. Yeah, as we mentioned, we all are trying to connect the dots and see different possibilities, and like as we do in our podcast, we're not trying to convince anybody of nothing. It's just out there for many different directions that it goes. It connects with everything we discuss in flat Earth and flat realm, if you want to call it, right? And extra lands, and it all is interconnected in a way, right? And with all the cosmologies and the real awakening, and it's all connected. So awesome, brother. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, I'm regret that I missed the whole show, but I was glad I was able to jump on a little bit. Here in America, maybe where you guys are too, there, or where you are, Vikka, they have Mother's Day, the corporate holiday, to make sure you spend money on chocolate and roses and your business and gift cards for $10 for 2 pieces of paper and all that good stuff. But the insanity of the world we live in. But yeah, the Tartaria thing, I promote the architecture a lot. I don't use Tartaria when I do it because I don't know about that. I mean, it's very suspicious that Tartaria is left out of all the history lessons and all of the classrooms everywhere. But it does make more sense to me that Atlantis was not just here or there or above the water or below the water under the oceans where we're finding these major cities. I think the whole system probably was Atlantis. The whole system was technologically advanced compared to what we have now. So that's just a belief or an opinion right now. As we research it more, I'm sure we'll put more of the pieces of the puzzle together, or like you said, Vikka, we'll connect more dots. But also my closing thought would be, you never fail one of God's tests. You just keep taking them until you pass. I think there's a lot of truth to that.
Oh yeah, definitely, brother. And yeah, the Atlantis, yeah, brother. This was the part, and this is the part we see the majesty of it. We see the beauty. We see the beauty of it. We see how impossible it could be for the timeline these people are saying, and the misinformation that it was all Tartarian, it's just it's disinformation for us to not get to the truth, right? Because this was a part, and now we are in a way enclosed in this part, and the same race where we come from, and they are much more ahead of us in every aspect, in construction, in technology, in psychology, in philosophy, in spirituality. They're much more high. Why I could say sounds very sci-fi, but I could say in some other word, I have visited it. Okay, I could say many won't believe it. It's not only about so it's all interconnected. It's amazing. It's a part of us there. It's amazing. We could create this here, free energy, everything, all this art, all this technology, metallurgy, everything you could speak about, psychology, philosophy, cultural wise, everything, right? Because we all grow together in all this aspect, not one by one. We are never going to get there, right? So anyway, yeah, we're going to be keep connecting the dots every time more. So yeah, that's what it's all about. Thanks, Keith, and thanks everybody in the chat. Thanks, Gene.
Good night, everyone.
So yeah. All right. So there you have it, guys. So make sure you guys check us out on the next episode of Heliopsychosis podcast. This is your host, Vikka Draziv, signing out, guys. See you soon next week. Thanks for being here, everyone. Good night. Bye.
Houston, we have a problem.